Alright guys, we're talking about distance deception today. So what is that? Stay tuned to find out. Okay, so what is distance deception? Well, an easy way to think of this is body weight distribution. How do you hold your body weight in relation to your opponent, okay? Okay, so this is what's going to separate a good boxer from a great boxer. How you hold your body weight in relation to your opponent. Okay, so what this does is this allows you to get punching angles without moving your feet. So you got to have a really good balance between, your offensive moves and conserving energy. Okay, you got to find your pace and you got to try to fight at your own pace. Otherwise, you're going to gas out and you're going to be in big trouble. Okay, so getting punching angles and getting an advantage, you don't always want to be right in front of your opponent. After you throw some shots down the center line, you want to try to get off of it and take an angle, okay? But, the more experienced your opponent is, the harder that's going to be. So what this distance deception allows you to do is to get punching angles, create openings without moving your feet. So when you do start moving, taking subtle steps, you get these tiny angles and you're able to become a more defensive fighter, okay? Okay, so good footwork is subtle footwork, okay? So when I first started boxing, I was, really into Mike Tyson, Pacquiao, and just crazy all over the place footwork, And then as I got more and more experience, I started watching the pro guys and sparring with pro fighters. I noticed that they didn't move their feet that much. They were way more grounded and they didn't get tired like I was getting tired, okay? So, Wilson Caden was a YouTube channel. He disappeared, nobody knows what happened to him. But he had a YouTube channel, still out there, and he talked about this distance deception a lot. And he would give examples and show breakdowns of, top fighters, world-class fighters, how they use this idea of shifting your body weight to get an advantage, okay? Okay, so how you hold your body weight can change how you look to your opponent, okay? So body language matters. If you're really tight and timid, you're gonna look weak. If you're one of these guys who drops his hands and looks really confident, your opponent's gonna think you're very confident, right? Okay, so you can change how your opponent sees you based on how you hold your body, okay? Body language matters. So this kind of relates to this distance deception. Because if you take a look here, I'm going to start squared up from my learning stance because that's how you're going to learn all these body mechanics, okay? If you do not have a good stance, you're going to limit your body mechanics, okay? If you're two-bladed, you're not going to be able to do this. You're not going to be able to shift your weight the way you need to pull this off or to even get proper head movement and power in your punches, okay? So you gotta do these body mechanic exercises from a learning stance, squared up, so you can learn the movements, then you can use proper body mechanics to perform your boxing maneuvers, okay? So check it out. I'm basically completely squared up. And what I'm gonna do, as I shift my weight from foot to foot, it's so simple, but you see my head's gonna move a little bit to the side that I'm holding my weight. You can hang out here for a minute, throw some combos. Same thing over here. Get used to these positions because you use these when you're fighting, okay? Alright, so now I'm going to get my stance. Body weight, 50-50, my head straight up and down, okay? So if I lean to my back foot, my rear foot slightly, you can see the pool noodle goes slightly over points of my head, which is over my rear foot. So a lot of people teach you to stand like this all the time, which is okay, but they completely ignore the front foot axis, okay? Some people will tell you to never use that, but why? Why would you ignore 50% of the natural body mechanics, okay? So from this back foot position, I appear more defensive. My head is farther away. This is good for countering. This is good for baiting your opponent to attack because you can shoulder roll and counter off of these movements like that, okay? if you get in trouble, you can dip down and shuffle out, crash in. But this is more like, a lot of Philly shell guys use this position a lot. But the best Philly shell guys, the best fighters in the world, also use the front position, okay? The front foot position. This makes me appear closer to my opponent, and it makes me appear more aggressive. It is more aggressive because I use this position to throw combinations. I got my shoulders more square. My feet are not changing. I just appear more square, and then when I'm done being aggressive, I can roll back to the back foot position, okay? So you're going to be constantly flowing between these positions, and this is going to allow you to control the range a lot better because you don't have to use your feet so much to get in position. You can sneak in like this by keeping your head on the back foot, but look where my front foot is. I got my head way back here, but when it's time to attack, I can boom, and look how much distance I just covered, right? So I don't want to go too far over the front foot because I would lose balance. I still got to keep my head between my legs. I don't want to go past the knee, but I still want to be able to use the front foot position like this. So here I am on the front foot, look where my head is on the back foot. Look how much distance I cover without even moving my feet. Alright, so let's take a look at how we actually use this concept on the bob, okay? So, boxing is all about deception, right? We want to appear strong when we're weak. We can appear weak when we're actually strong, okay? And this is all about, it's a chess match, okay? So like we were saying earlier, body language matters. I can appear closer or farther away. I can appear aggressive or more passive depending on how I hold my body weight in relation to my opponent, okay? So check it out. If we're over here, I'm over here on the bob, right? Now if I want to be super aggressive, think about Canelo. Canelo's a fighter that uses this very well. Floyd Mayweather. When Mayweather wants to be aggressive, what does he do? He gets on the front foot. He might even put a high guard. You can do it from a Philly shell. You can keep the Philly shell. Ali did this all the time. Ali's fighting stance, when he stops moving around and actually sat down in his stance, he was on the front foot here like this because he wanted to bait his opponent to attack so he could pull back like that, okay? Mayweather does the same thing. Mayweather leans in with a high guard, does the pull counter, right? Canelo, similar thing. Canelo will lean in with this high guard because it makes him appear closer to his opponent. And that gives him the ability to move his head and make the opponent miss or just counter right out of that footwork, okay? So he inches in close with this high guard. He's on the back foot here. And then when he wants to attack, he shifts over to the front foot. Like this. And rolls out, okay? So that's one way to use this concept. So another way to use this is to sit back on the back foot, okay? So it makes me look more bladed. My feet aren't really changing. Most of this work is being done by how I shift my weight. I lean on the back foot like this, and that can entice your opponent to press forward, and then you can shift over, take an angle, and fight off that, okay? But here we are. I'm on the back foot now. So I look farther away to my opponent than I actually am. My front foot determines how close I am to my opponent. So if I'm inching closer and closer, tiny steps, but my head's on the back foot like this, and then I get him to shell up, or I cause him to create an opening, and then I can attack from there, okay? Okay, so this might seem like a pretty advanced concept, but it's really simple, especially if you approach things from the learning stance and learn the body mechanics. Like, this should be taught at pretty much day one, so no matter what level you're at, you want to start practicing this concept, because this is going to really enhance your defense. It's going to enhance your offense as well but this is really going to help your defense because you are going to be able to control the range much better because you're not using so much energy. When you combine this concept with your footwork and all the other stuff you've kind of learned, your pivots and all your other tricks, you just become a much better fighter, okay? So just one more demonstration here. I got my head straight up and down, body weight 50-50, right? So I approach the camera, I can feint and stuff, but I have to get into range with my feet only. When I start doing this body weight distribution, right, I'm on the back foot here, on the front foot. Bop, bop. Okay? So it's a lot harder for your opponent to tell if you're actually stepping towards him, away from him, or if you're just shifting your weight. That weight shift, everything comes from the weight shift, okay? My footwork, my punches, my defense, my head movement. I'm preemptively moving my head. I don't need to see a punch to move my head. It's all part of just using proper body mechanics to do my footwork and execute my punches, okay? So like the video, see you in the next one. Peace.